The bathroom door's crack of light made Sarah's voice carry perfectly as I balanced folding chairs in my arms. Make sure you can see his face when I do it. I want to catch every expression. My grip tightened involuntarily on the metal chairs, the cold seeping through my palms as Jessica's delighted laugh echoed off the bathroom tiles. The party set up around me, Jake's living room decorated for his birthday, the carefully arranged furniture I'd been arranging, suddenly felt like a stage being prepared for my own humiliation. My name is Owen, I'm 26 and a project coordinator. This is the story of how I turned someone's cruel test into their public reckoning. I'd arrived early to help Jake set up, something I genuinely enjoyed about our friendship since college. But Sarah had texted saying she'd come later with her friends, nothing unusual since she loved making dramatic entrances. What I hadn't expected was to overhear her rehearsing my public breakup like a theater performance. "My cousin tried this last month," came Mia's voice through the crack. "He literally got on his knees begging her not to leave. She made him promise Europe and that designer bag before she forgave him." "See, it works every time," Sarah said, excitement building in her voice. "Owen's gotten too comfortable. When's the last time he surprised me with flowers or planned something romantic?" My blood went cold. They weren't planning anything innocent. They were staging psychological warfare disguised as relationship drama, complete with social media documentation. The casual cruelty in her tone made my stomach churn. "What if he just agrees?" Amanda wondered aloud. Sarah's laugh was sharp and confident. "Trust me, no guy lets his girlfriend walk away in front of all his friends without making a scene. His ego won't let him." "Make sure you record it," Mia added with obvious glee. "This'll be perfect Instagram content. Testing my boyfriend's love in public. It'll probably go viral." I set the chairs down carefully, my hands trembling with a mixture of anger and disbelief. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, but something better was forming in my head. If Sarah wanted a public test, she was about to learn something crucial about the man she'd been taking for granted. For months I'd noticed the subtle signs, her increasing demands, the way she'd compare me to other men, how she seemed to enjoy making me jump through hoops just to earn her approval. I'd brushed it off as insecurity, thinking love meant accepting someone's flaws. But listening to her orchestrate my humiliation for entertainment, that wasn't a flaw, that was her character. By that evening, the party was in full swing. Jake's house buzzed with conversation and laughter, the familiar warmth of our college friend group mixed with newer faces. I watched Sarah position herself near the center of the living room, while her friends spread out like actors taking their marks. Jessica had her phone ready, held at an angle to capture what they thought would be my desperate pleading. Amanda and Mia positioned themselves with clear sightlines, anticipating the drama they had orchestrated. The casual nature of their conspiracy hit me hardest. This wasn't a moment of poor judgment, but a carefully planned performance where my pain was the main attraction. Sarah approached me with theatrical seriousness, her expression perfectly crafted for maximum impact. The room gradually quieted as people sensed something important was about to happen, conversations trailing off as attention focused on us. "Owen, we need to talk," she announced loudly enough for half the party to hear, her voice carrying that serious tone she probably practiced in the mirror. I set down my beer, looking at her calmly despite my racing heart. "Sure, what's on your mind?" "I've been thinking about us, about our relationship, and I don't think this is working anymore." She delivered the line with conviction, her friends leaning in like they were watching their favorite TV show. The room went noticeably quieter. I could see her friends positioned perfectly, phones ready to capture my humiliation. I nodded slowly, as if processing this shocking revelation for the first time. "You're absolutely right," I said simply, my voice calm and measured. Her eyes widened, a flicker of confusion breaking through her theatrical mask. This clearly wasn't the script she'd prepared for. What did you just say?" "You said it's not working anymore. I believe you. Thanks for being honest about your feelings." I pulled my keys from my pocket with deliberate precision, the metal cool against my fingers. "I'll come by your place this weekend to get my stuff. Enjoy your freedom, Sarah." I started walking toward the front door, each step feeling like breaking free from invisible chains. The silence was deafening. You could hear the music, but no one was talking. Even the party seemed to hold its breath. "Wait," Sarah called out, her voice cracking with genuine panic now. The performance was crumbling. "That's it? You're just leaving?" I turned back, noting we now had the undivided attention of the entire party. Friends, acquaintances, even strangers had stopped their conversations to watch this unfold. What did you expect? You just broke up with me. But don't you want to talk about this? Try to work things out? Fight for what we have? Her voice rose with desperation, the practiced composure completely gone. I could see her friends exchanging panicked looks. Jessica's phone wavered in her hand. This definitely wasn't going according to their carefully laid plan. Work what out? I replied reasonably. You just told me our relationship isn't working. I respect your decision and I'm accepting it. I thought you loved me, she said, her voice rising with what now sounded like genuine emotion rather than performance. I do love you. That's exactly why I'm not going to force you to stay in a relationship that makes you unhappy. Someone from across the room, Tom from our college group, called out, "Aren't you going to fight for her?" I addressed the entire room, my voice carrying clearly over the music. Fight for what exactly? She's made her choice clearly. I'm not going to beg someone to be with me who doesn't want to be. That's not love. That's desperation. Sarah's face was flushing red, clearly realizing her plan was backfiring spectacularly. The confident woman who'd orchestrated this entire scene was nowhere to be found. Maybe we could just take a break instead, she suggested weakly, grasping for anything that might salvage the situation. A break sounds perfect. How long were you thinking? 6 months should give you enough time to figure out what you want. Jessica, panicking about how badly this was going, stepped forward. Sarah, just tell him how you really feel. She just did, I replied logically. She said it's not working and wants to end things. Those seem like pretty clear feelings. Mia jumped in desperately. All couples go through rough patches. You just need to work harder to make her happy. This isn't a rough patch. This is her making a conscious decision to end our relationship, and I'm mature enough to respect that. Amanda, frustrated their drama was failing so completely, couldn't help herself. She just wants to see that you care enough to fight for the relationship. The room went completely silent. Amanda had just admitted exactly what this was about, revealing the manipulation for everyone to see. I looked at Amanda with genuine fascination. So, she broke up with me to test whether I cared about her? Amanda's face went white as she realized what she'd just revealed to 30 people. That's really interesting, I said conversationally to the entire room, because I happened to overhear you all rehearsing this entire scenario in the bathroom earlier, the part where you planned to position yourselves around the room to watch my reaction, where Jessica was going to film it for social media content, where you discussed how long I'd grovel before Sarah gracefully took me back. Sarah's face drained of all color. Jessica's phone, which had been recording the entire time, suddenly disappeared behind her back. But it was too late. Everyone had noticed it. The party guests were murmuring among themselves, looking between Sarah and her friends with a mixture of disgust and disbelief. The atmosphere had shifted completely, the fun energy replaced by uncomfortable tension. "You planned this whole thing?" someone said from the crowd, their voice carrying clear disapproval. "That's so messed up," another voice added. "Who does something like that to someone they supposedly love?" I looked directly at Sarah, watching the reality of her situation sink in. "The breakup you staged for your friend's entertainment, it's real now." I walked toward the door, but Sarah followed me outside into Jake's front yard, her friends trailing like guilty children, caught in an elaborate lie. The cool night air was a relief after the stuffy atmosphere inside. "Owen, please, I'm so sorry," she said desperately, tears streaming down her face. These looked genuine, unlike her earlier performance. "It was so stupid. I never actually wanted to break up with you." "The problem isn't that you tested me, Sarah. It's that you thought I was someone who could be manipulated like this. You valued your friend's entertainment more than my dignity." "My friend said you didn't appreciate me anymore," she protested, trying to shift the blame. "So you decided to embarrass me publicly instead of having an adult conversation about your needs?" "Someone who really loved me wouldn't try to humiliate me for entertainment," I continued, my voice steady despite the emotion churning inside. "Someone who respected me wouldn't test me like I'm a lab experiment." "But I do love you," she protested weakly. "No, you don't. You love the idea of having power over me. You love having someone you can manipulate when you're bored or insecure. But that's not love, Sarah. That's control." Jessica finally spoke up, her voice small. It wasn't supposed to go like this. What was it supposed to go like? Was I supposed to get on my knees and beg? Promise expensive gifts and grovel until you graciously forgave me? We just wanted to help her feel more secure, Mia said defensively. By teaching her to be manipulative and dishonest? That's your idea of security? I looked at all four of them standing there in Jake's front yard, suddenly seeming so much younger and more foolish than I'd ever noticed before. Here's what I learned about tests tonight. When someone tests you, they're telling you they don't trust you. When someone manipulates you, they're telling you they don't respect you. And when someone humiliates you for their friend's amusement, they're telling you exactly who they are. Please, Sarah whispered, reaching for my hand. Can we start over? Pretend this never happened. I pulled my hand away gently. No, because now I know who you really are, and more importantly, I know who I am. I'm someone who won't be tested, manipulated, or disrespected. I walked toward my car, parked at the end of Jake's driveway. Where are you going? She called desperately. Home to my apartment, where I won't have to wonder if my girlfriend is planning to humiliate me for her friend's entertainment. You're throwing away 2 years over one mistake. I stopped and turned back one final time. This wasn't a mistake, Sarah. Mistakes are accidents. This was a deliberate choice you spent time planning, recruiting help for, and were excited about filming. That's not poor judgment. That's who you are. I drove home that night, feeling lighter than I had in months. The apartment felt different without the constant tension of wondering what Sarah was really thinking or planning. I slept better than I had in weeks. 3 months later, Jake called to update me on the aftermath. Sarah had cut ties with her toxic friends completely after the fallout became too severe to ignore. Other people in our social circle had started avoiding Jessica, Mia, and Amanda, once word got around about their relationship manipulation games. Apparently, they had tried similar stunts with other couples, but mine was the first to backfire so spectacularly and so publicly. Jake told me that several people had actually thanked him for hosting the party, where they finally saw those women's true colors. The video Jessica had been taking never made it to social media, but somehow everyone seemed to know exactly what had happened. Sarah had tried reaching out to mutual friends for support, but most people had witnessed enough to form their own opinions. As for me, I learned invaluable lessons that night. I learned that knowing your worth means being willing to walk away from anyone who doesn't recognize it. I learned that real love doesn't need testing, games, or public performances. And I learned that sometimes the best way to win is to refuse to play by someone else's toxic rules. 8 months later, I was dating Claire, someone I'd met through work who communicated directly and honestly. When I told her about Sarah, her reaction was immediate. Anyone who would do that doesn't understand what love actually is. That's not insecurity, that's cruelty. That's when I knew I'd found someone who understood that real relationships are built on trust and respect, not games designed to prove power or generate social media content. Someone who would never think to test my love because she was too busy building something real with me instead. Claire and I have been together for over a year now, and the difference is remarkable. We discuss problems directly instead of creating elaborate tests. We support each other instead of competing for control. We build each other up instead of tearing each other down for entertainment. The night Sarah tried to publicly break up with me for entertainment, she thought she was testing my love for her. What she actually did was test my respect for myself, and I passed with flying colors. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to play someone else's game and walking away with your dignity intact.